Proposed resolution under the Dutiable Commodities Ordinance moved by the Secretary for Transport and Logistics. Members who wish to speak, please press the request to speak button. I now call upon the Secretary to speak and move the motion.
Thank you, President. I move that the resolution as set out in the agenda be passed. This motion seeks the Council's approval of the Dutiable Commodities Amendment Regulation 2025, or Amendment Regulation for short, made by the Chief Executive in Council on the 23rd of September this year under Section 6 of the Dutiable Commodities Ordinance Cap 109 to amend Regulation 12 of the Dutiable Commodities Regulations Cap 109A to provide duty exemption for methyl alcohol, or MA for short, to be placed in the fuel tank of an outbound vessel for use as fuel, so as to encourage the development of the local bunkering industry and support the development of Hong Kong as a green maritime fuel bunkering center. Under the global trend of green shipping, the international maritime industry has started to switch to use low or even zero emission green maritime fuel. To maintain and enhance Hong Kong's competitiveness, the government published the Action Plan on Green Maritime Fuel Bunkering in November 2024, setting out a multi-fuel strategy to gradually push forward the provision of different green maritime fuels at the Hong Kong port. The industry is very proactive, and there has been a positive response from the trade. A bill came into force in January this year. In January and June this year, the code of practice for the bunkering of LNG was introduced. We have made quite a lot of breakthroughs. Say in February this year, in the waters of Hong Kong, we first successfully finished LNG bunkering. We have, as of now, completed 10 times of LNG bunkering. In May, we conducted B30 bunkering with high density. We also conducted similar operations. We have drawn reference from shipbuilding orders. We expect that there will be an increase in the number of MA-powered new or retrofitted vessels in the international merchant fleet in the coming years. Using MA will reduce carbon emissions for companies. This will meet the international targets. That's why shipping companies have started to consider greenfield bunkering at different ports. In light of the vast potential and the strong demand, various major ports around the globe are gearing up to offer MA bunkering services so as to attract MA-powered vessels to bunker and conduct other businesses such as cargo handling there. There are traditional bunkering ports, say Singapore, Shanghai, Busan, and Rotterdam. Different ports are getting prepared to provide MA bunkering. Amsterdam, as well as other places, have finished the first time of MA bunkering. There is keen competition in different ports. Hong Kong needs to provide MA duty exemption as soon as possible. This will enable the bunkering operations of MA in Hong Kong. This will further cement Hong Kong's status as an international shipping center. If we don't do so, for new MA-powered vessels, we choose to go to other ports for bunkering. If this trend continues, Hong Kong's port will lose its appeal. Therefore, this legislative amendment is urgent, and we do need to put in place it as soon as possible. Only MA needs to be charged under Cap 109A, MA duty was first introduced in 1957 to deter the production of adulterated liquor and prevent MA poisoning instead of increasing revenue. To avoid the production of adulterated liquor as a result of MA duty exemption, which would create public health risks, we recommend limiting the scope of the duty exemption to MA to be placed in the fuel tank of an outbound vessel for use as fuel. For the purpose of the amendment regulation, a vessel is an outbound vessel if it is of 400 gross tonnage or above and is scheduled or otherwise planned to depart from the waters of Hong Kong after the MA concerned is placed in its fuel tank, as such vessels are the expected primary users of MA as a maritime fuel. In order to lay the groundwork for this to happen as soon as possible, we will first amend the regulation to introduce duty exemption. In the first half of 2026, we will introduce an amendment bill to introduce new offenses relating to specific cases of misuse of duty-exempted MA and a presumption of fact for proceedings in relation to relevant offenses in order to enhance the regulation of the use of duty-exempted MA in the long run. Before the introduction of the forthcoming amendment bill, the existing general provisions and offenses under Cap 109 can already effectively hold culprits liable for misusing duty-exempted MA in general. The Customs and Excise Department and the Marine Department will also step up monitoring of relevant MA bunkering operations closely. The exemption of green MA for bunkering purpose from duty is a measure announced in the Action Plan and the Budget Speech 2025 to 2026. The Transport and Logistics Bureau consulted the Electrical Panel on Economic Development on the Action Plan on the 4th of March 2025. Members supported measures suggested under the Action Plan. The recently published supplement to the Chief Executive's 2025 Policy Address further expanded the scope of duty exemption for all MA for use as fuel on outbound vessels. The current recommended scope of duty exemption will provide more convenience and flexibility for bunkering operations in response to the expectations of relevant stakeholders for Hong Kong to further develop green maritime fuel bunkering. We expect that the industry will welcome the measure, subject to the approval of the Legislative Council on the amendment regulation today. It will be gazetted and come into force in mid-October. I sincerely hope that members will support this resolution. Thank you, President.
I now put the question to you that the Secretary's motion be passed. Dr. Low Wai Kwok. President, I speak in support of the proposed resolution under Dutiable Commodities Ordinance moved by the Secretary for Transport and Logistics, which seeks to have Legislature's approval of the Dutiable Commodities Amendment Regulation 2025 made by the Chief Executive in Council as set out in the supplement to the Chief Executive's 2025 Policy Address. Duty concessions for methanol used for bunkering for outbound vessels will be put in place. Now, in relation to carbon emission reduction for the maritime industry, there is consensus laid down by the IMO, and the clear goal is to achieve zero carbon emission by or before 2050. The European Union is the major regulatory body in relation to maritime carbon emission. Now, the global shipping industry is now quickening its pace in adopting liquefied natural gas and methanol as alternatives to the traditional fuel for bunkering. We ranked the fourth in terms of of International Maritime Center, and we also ranked the seventh as the fuel bunkering center. There is all the more the reason for us to meet this carbon emission reduction target in order to enhance our competitiveness. Our country has also expressly provided that Hong Kong should be developed into an international financial, shipping, and trade center, we need to bolster our status in the area of green transformation so as to meet the country's needs and bolster our status as the gateway and the hub. I'm happy to see that the government has taken a multi-pronged approach in enhancing Hong Kong's status as an international shipping center. Last year, in October, this council passed the Dutiable Commodities Amendment Regulation 2025 to facilitate the use of new fuel and enhance regulation to ensure a safe environment. In November the same year, the government announced the action plan on green maritime fuel bunkering. Now, the purpose of this resolution is to provide duty concessions for methanol used for bunkering for outbound vessels. Due to historical reasons, duties are charged on using methanol in Hong Kong for bunkering. The original legislative intent was to avoid the production of adulterated liquor, which would create public health risks. The purpose is not to increase government revenue. In the long run, this will hamper Hong Kong's competitiveness in attracting ocean liners to come to Hong Kong for bunkering. We should put in place exemptions for duties charged on MA or methanol. We need to relax the rule and provide exemptions so as to attract more outbound vessels powered by methanol to come to Hong Kong for bunkering. And the government has taken this two-step approach to meet the needs of the sector as well as meeting the needs for rigorous and law enforcement. For the legislative amendment on this occasion, duty concessions will be provided for methanol used for bunkering for outbound vessels, and that the scope will be confined to MA placed in the fuel tank of an outbound vessel. In the first half of 2026, another amendment will be put in place to tackle possible abuse of the duty concession. I believe through these measures we will continue to enhance our competitiveness and bolster our status as an international green shipping center. This will also help Hong Kong take steady steps in meeting the carbon neutrality goal by 2025 and contribute to the carbon emission reduction targets of our country. I so submit. Dr. So Chang-Ming. Now, this is the resolution in relation to the Dutiable Commodities Amendment Regulation 2025. This is a major legislative proposal in promoting Hong Kong as an international green shipping center. Now, the global shipping trade is quickening its pace in the green transformation and going for zero carbon emission. Hong Kong is an international shipping center. We must continue to take forward and lead this reform through offering duty concessions for methanol used for bunkering. We can enhance Hong Kong's competitiveness and appeal as the bunkering center. This echoes the initiative put forward in the policy address. It shows the government's commitment in developing Hong Kong into an international green shipping center. The first methanol-powered vessel calls the Hong Kong port for the first time, and this shows the fuel technology is now mature. It also marks an important milestone in acquiring practical experience. As a methanol bunkering center, it is a boost of confidence in the future development of the shipping center. So this case, that's a CM homing vessel, would be the first or the starting point of building Hong Kong into a green bunkering center. The original intention of the legislation was to avoid the production of adulterated liquor. Heavy duties were charged on methanol. But now methanol can be used as a clean fuel for vessels, and it has become a major trend. We should lift the duty on MA as quickly as possible in order to remove obstacles. We should also improve the supporting facilities to ensure the safety and efficiency of the bunkering operations. And that means storage and bunkering facilities. We should also make a start in drawing up local standards. Administrative mechanisms should be put in place. Now, as the policy address has proposed, the government should invite the sector to develop the relevant storage facilities. And a feasibility study should also be conducted on hydrogen fuel bunkering. The government could offer duty concessions. There should also be a comprehensive review on the regulatory framework to promote the development of the industry, to make sure that we are kept abreast with the times. This legislative amendment echoes our response to the imminent needs of the sector. It is also in line with our green shipping policy. We should grasp the opportunities at this critical phase and send a clear signal to the global market that Hong Kong is ready to be the green fuel bunkering center in Asia, so as to bolster our status as an international shipping center. I so submit. Mr. Bill Tang. I speak on behalf of the FTU, and I support the proposed resolution moved under the Dutiable Commodities Ordinance by the Secretary for Transport and Logistics. I'd like to put forward the views of the labor sector. Promoting green fuel bunkering would definitely help support the development of the shipping industry as well as the green energy business. Apart from providing support to enterprises and businesses, the government must not leave behind the local practitioners, in particular training for local technicians. We see this major opportunity of green transformation. Our country will also leverage on Hong Kong as an international platform. So the prospect is positive in terms of green energy such as methanol or other fuels for bunkering. The codes of practice as well as equipment for workers should be kept up to date to ensure safety. The relevant safety guidelines should be updated. There should be close communication with the relevant trade unions and the sector in general. Regular training should be provided to local practitioners to enhance their knowledge and skills. There should also be strengthened efforts in safety inspections of the sites and the facilities to ensure a safe workplace for all. The FTU is going to take forward two tasks. First, we're going to announce the results of a competition of leaders of the industry. Many workers uphold the spirit of craftsmanship, and they have provided a lot of professional and innovative suggestions to the industries. Now, in terms of green transformation or extensive application of new energy, apart from giving support to enterprises, the government should also encourage more practitioners to share the experience with the trade. I believe we all have the respective roles to play. The government should attach more importance to workers and trade unions' participation in the process. Now, what I understand is that in light of the geopolitical tensions, the tariff war initiated by the US and other countermeasures, there are so many tensions in global trade relations. The shipping industry is affected. Now, Hong Kong is an international shipping center, and at this point, the government has rolled out measures such as promoting green transformation to give a boost to our confidence. Now, I appreciate the government's efforts. There are external uncertainties, and in light of the current geopolitical landscape, we need to uphold principles and be innovative. This is very important as we are an international city. Now, like other members said, we are the first place in the world to promote green fuel bunkering. This is a very important point. The government should continue to promote green transformation. Hong Kong is an international city. We should take forward this topic on various fronts such as green energy certification and help promote national standards and alignment with international standards. Now, other members explained the reason of charging duty on methanol, so I will skip that. But the government should not be complacent. Now, you're going to provide duty concessions for methanol placed in the fuel tank of outbound vessels, but you should also plug loopholes to avoid abuse.
Mr. Eric Yim. President, I support the motion moved by the Secretary for Transport and Logistics. I would first like to recognize the government's plans stated in the policy address to provide duty exemptions for methyl alcohol for fuel bunkering. We have this measure proposed in the action plan for green maritime fuel bunkering, and then now we are finally implementing the measure. And we have for outbound vessels duty for methyl alcohol reduced. This will reduce the operational costs of Hong Kong Port and enhance competitiveness of Hong Kong as an international shipping center. We have the International Maritime Organization promulgating the decarbonization carbon emissions targets, and we have seen local power companies taking measures to have green maritime fuel bunkering. We have the LNG terminal. We also have more infrastructure in place, providing more options for green fuel bunkering in future. We have also different green fuels. With the use of green fuels, it will reduce the emission of greenhouse gases by 70%. We have the first China merchants ship CM Hong Kong that is leading in green fuel bunkering. It was also manufactured in Hong Kong. We have also the shipping company Maersk having constructed a ship for green fuel bunkering. These demonstrate that this is not a transient phenomenon. We need to have the infrastructure in place in order to develop as a green maritime fuel bunkering. I hope that the government can work with the shipping sector to develop facilities to support the development of Hong Kong in green fuel bunkering. Due to land and green measures constraints, we can't really have local basis for production of methyl alcohol. So we have to import green fuels, but right now there are not enough facilities for storage of methyl alcohol. We have the government earmarking 9 hectares of land for storing green fuels. In September, the government invited expressions of interest. If we see the land actually used for storage of green fuels, it would help, but it's not enough. I hope that in future the government will provide more policy support to have more industrial sites converted into storage facilities for green fuels so that we have more infrastructure. It will support development of Hong Kong as a green maritime fuel bunkering center. It will also create more job opportunities. We have, under the amended regulation, written approval from the Customs and Excise Department required. There's also a threshold for gross tonnage. There are safety concerns possibly associated with smuggling of extraction of methyl alcohol. I urge the government to regulate in this regard and make sure to take enforcement action if necessary. President, this motion is very important in how we can achieve our targets in reducing carbon emissions and achieving carbon neutrality. I therefore support the bill. I so submit. Mr. Frankie Yik. Thank you, President. In accordance with existing legislation, methyl alcohol and any substances related to methyl alcohol, for each hectoliter it would cost $840, and we have an additional fee if their alcoholic strength by volume exceeds 30%. So for an ocean-going vessel, they will have to pay close to $10 million in taxes. It is a significant cost. If we have to attract more ocean-going vessels to conduct green fuel bunkering in Hong Kong, this duty concession will really help in helping Hong Kong develop as a green maritime fuel bunkering center. The International Maritime Organization has set out targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. It has to decrease by 55% compared to the levels of 1990, and there should be zero emissions by 2050. Ship owners will have to make use of cleaner fuels, otherwise they will be given a financial penalty. This will increase significantly the demand for clean fuels. We have mainly used LNG in the sector. We have the first ship-to-ship LNG bunkering done in February this year. However, LNG still produces some emissions, so this is just a transition fuel. In future, it will be replaced by even cleaner fuels such as methyl alcohol, helium, and ammonia. Methyl alcohol is especially an alternative that is preferred because it is safer. It is also less risky. We have right now 330 million tons of methyl alcohol being demanded by the shipping industry. We really need to meet this gap, and the country is working hard to enhance production capacity of methyl alcohol. In 2026, 75% of the methyl alcohol in the world will be produced by the country, and we do see high costs associated with methyl alcohol at the moment, but with increasing production capacity and greater demand, we believe in future the price will go down. Mr. Tommy Chung and I set up a cross-departmental, cross-industry working group on methyl alcohol fuel bunkering in 2023 to call for the relevant laws and standards be put in place to facilitate Hong Kong's development as a methanol bunkering center, and we have had CM Hong Kong being a key milestone in our development direction. We have now the Transport and Logistics Bureau proposing duty concessions for methyl alcohol, and in September of this year, as another member said, we have the government inviting expressions of interest for greenfield bunkering facilities. We are forming an industrial chain for greenfield bunkering. Right now, the concessions only apply to outbound vessels that are vessels of 400 gross tonnage. But I would like to say for methyl alcohol use, it is not limited to ocean-going vessels. We have also heavy vehicles in the mainland making use of methyl alcohol. We need to also consider the combating of unadulterated liquor. In future, if it is used in land transport, there is indeed a higher chance of people abusing the mechanism and have adulterated liquor, but we need to make sure to catch up with the times. I suggest that for industrial use diesel, there should be proper markings so that we can actually promote the use of clean fuels and green transport, so that we can continue to be pioneers in green transformation in the world. Thank you. Mr. Tommy Zheng. Thank you, President. The Secretary and Mr. Frankie Yik talked much about the background of how we came to what we have today, so I won't repeat what they said. I want to say, in particular for the 2023 policy address, the Liberal Party and I have called for the Chief Executive to actively develop Hong Kong into a green methanol bunkering center. We were lagging behind when Singapore was quickly trying to plan for such developments. We now see less vessels calling at the Hong Kong port as a result because of the fees and charges. Having told the Chief Executive that, the Chief Executive quickly included this in the policy address, which I appreciate. On 23rd of October 2024, we have scrutinized the shipping legislation bill, and afterwards the bill was passed. The Secretary mentioned this on different occasions. And finally, we now have the actual proposals for methyl alcohol. I very much appreciate the Secretary providing further support in the sense that they are now providing duty concessions for methyl alcohol. We can really catch up with Singapore, South Korea, and in the country Shanghai with this. Mr. Frankie Yik said the Liberal Party will support this. I just want to say one more thing. We should not limit ourselves to vessels. We should consider applying duty concessions to different modes of transport so that we will have more people use methanol. I so submit. Does any other member wish to speak? If not, I now call upon the Secretary for Transport and Logistics to reply, then the debate will come to a close. Secretary.
Thank you, President. I thank the members who spoke just now. I thank them for expressing their views and their support for the regulation. This discussion came in a timely manner. The International Maritime Organization is convening a meeting this week. It is on implementing the framework of the IMO. If it is adopted, there will be a pricing mechanism for the global shipping trade, and this will expedite the green transformation of the International Shipping Center. This will also help the IMO to achieve the target of zero emissions by 2050. Hong Kong is an international shipping center. Hong Kong will work with the international community as well as the shipping industries in different countries that will be considered efforts to enhance our competitiveness and to make greater contributions to our country in order to support the green transformation of the local shipping industry. This resolution is an important element in promoting methanol and green maritime fuel. Actually, Hong Kong has a vast potential in the development of this maritime fuel. In September, CM Hong Kong visited Hong Kong on its maiden voyage. CM Hong Kong is a methanol dual-fuel powered car carrier vessel. It uses methanol as fuel so that it can come to Hong Kong for bunkering and operations. 2. It flies the flag of Hong Kong. This is an important recognition of the shipping registration in Hong Kong. 3. It carries new energy vehicles from Hong Kong to different cities in Europe. This will show the internationalization of the ports in Hong Kong. So we will work in different aspects: policy, regulations, hardware, software, talent training, operations, and so on. We have already heard members' views. We attach a lot of importance to them and will also implement them in our policies and regulations. In our resolution this time, we will make enhancements to taxation so that we will further develop the use of green maritime fuel to provide duty exemption. In addition, when it comes to hardware, as members just now said, Hong Kong is a small city. We have limited land resources. However, in Tsingyi South, we have identified a parcel of land of 9 hectares, which will be developed as a storage area of green maritime fuel for the industry. Recently, we invited expressions of interest from the industry. So far, we have received over 17 enterprises. They have sent inquiries, and they have also sent their expression of interest. Some members asked whether we could identify larger areas. We will keep in view the demand for storage, and we will also review our supporting facilities, such as increasing land supply for storage facilities in order to support the development of Hong Kong as a green maritime fuel bunkering center. To develop Hong Kong into a green maritime fuel bunkering and trading center, and even to contribute to the construction of the industrial chain, we will work harder when it comes to software. We are working with the mainland enterprises as well as the Ministry of Commerce to build a platform. We will match with different enterprises in mainland China. Just now, Mr. Frankie Yek talked about working groups that were set up a few years ago. So far, we have attracted enterprises in mainland China to enter into agreements. With the resolution today being passed, towards the end of this year and next year, there will be more good news. On talent training, I have heard from the FTU just now that we used to attach more importance to the development of enterprises. In this regard, the Marine Department has already published some codes of practice. The technology concerned is very specialized. At present, we are identifying suitable training programs. In the GBA, we have identified 8 programs. they will be incorporated into the MATF. On the use and operation of green maritime fuel, we will enhance our efforts in talent training. In addition, we will also keep a close eye on the situation and watch out for any tax evasion and dangerous operations. To this end, the Customs and Excise Department and the Marine Department will step up their inspections in order to monitor the situation. We will also be perfecting the law enforcement regime. Just now, Mr. Tommy Zhang talked about green maritime fuel not just being used on vessels but also in other areas. As for larger vessels, the use of methanol is quite mature, and it's also gaining currency all around the world. That's why there is an urgent need to pass this resolution. We also expect that there will be a burgeoning demand for the use of methanol as fuel. As for using methanol as fuel in other areas, we are still in the initial stage. We need to prevent the production of adulterated liquor in order to protect public health and minimize public health risks. That's why we need to conduct a cautious assessment and consider different application scenarios in order to keep in check the risks brought about by tax concession measures. In the past few years, not many enterprises were interested in coming to Hong Kong because of our policies, but then we are seeing a change in the trend. I'm glad to see member support for the resolution. Thank you. I now put the question to you that the Secretary's motion be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed.